Hello, and welcome to Business Academy. Today we're going to explore some helpful tips to help improve efficiency while working within business. Now, there's a lot of great functionality within business, but today I'm going to demonstrate some tools that can increase your experience and productivity with three main facets of business. These facets include navigation, organization, and production within business. So with that, I'd like to start off by talking about the screen we have in front of us. This is the dashboard. There are two main views of the dashboard. There's the recent screen, which we have in front of us now, and there's the custom dashboard, which we'll get to in a little bit. But for right now, I want to focus on the recent screen as it is appearing in front of us. So the recent screen displays anything that you viewed recently. And by default, this lists the top 5 items that you've last viewed. So I have my last viewed contacts, my last viewed customers, employees, vendors, projects, tasks, and so forth. If you haven't viewed anything recently regarding any entities, they'll appear down here, as I haven't viewed any candidates or customer assets. On the right, we also have Up Next. This notifies you of your upcoming appointments, your milestones, and tasks. With anything within the recent screen, you can click Load More to view more results. This will show you more things that you viewed recently in terms of these particular entities. If there's more than 5, it'll keep dropping down. If there's less than 5, it'll just end and the Load More button will not appear, as it does here with vendors. As you can see here, since we have more employees than 10, I can load more and it'll show me up to 15. Now within Recents, there's a few handy tools that I also did want to point out. One is the pinning. So let's say you view one contact a lot, you can actually pin that contact to your Recents. And then this contact will always appear as your number 1 contact, and the Recents will cycle through the top other 3 that you see here. You can do that for vendors, projects, tasks, and really anything within this recent screen. If you want to unpin something, you simply just click the pin, and then that entity will cycle through the recents cycle again. But by pinning it, it protects it from going away on your recents. To manage your recents, you can click this little window icon, and a pop-up will appear. You can either delete something from your recents, you can rearrange by dragging and dropping, and if you have a customer number here, you can toggle to show the number, which is in blue, and if you don't want to show the number, you toggle it off again, and it's in black. Now, if these aren't in use and you want to add them, you can click these arrows to show which side they appear on. And that will add them to your recents. Anything not in use will appear in the middle. By clicking Close, your recent screen will adjust. There's also a hover option for all of these entities as well. So if you hover over, you can see who viewed the contact. You can share the contact, which will populate a URL. And you can also choose the breadcrumbs to see more info. This is available for vendors. However, with vendors, customers, sales orders, there's a plus option to add a new vendor. For instance, you can add a new purchase order, a new bill. You can receive items or pay a bill simply by clicking the plus icon by hovering over the vendor. And those breadcrumb options will show you anything that's visible on the dashboard. And by clicking info, for instance, you'll be able to go right to that info screen. The other view on the dashboard is the custom dashboard. Now you'll notice as I switch, the view will change. So this is my custom dashboard. Here we have widgets that we can add, and this acts much like it does on the recent screen. By clicking this little window button up here, you can manage your widgets. And just like on the recents, you can choose your arrows to dictate which side these widgets appear on. And there's also the drag and drop ability. There's the delete, so you can remove, and you can add by clicking the arrow. By clicking close, your recents will be, your custom dashboard, will be reflected. Another way in which the custom dashboard is different from the recents is that each section is completely customizable. So for instance, if I wanted to customize my tasks, I can click this gear icon here, and I can actually choose a sort. So I can sort tasks by start date, end date, priority, or date created. I can name the widget. And I can also filter by tasks. So I can show my tasks, a certain pool's tasks, which then you'll be able to choose the pool from this dropdown. And you can also show a team's task. So you can show the red team's tasks, for instance. Now another cool feature within the custom dashboard is, let's say I want to show my tasks, but I also want to show a team's tasks. I can actually add another task widget. So if I choose another tasks and I add it here, and let's move it right down below the other tasks. If I click close, here's that other widget. And by clicking the gear icon, I can choose a team. And I can name this red team's tasks. Then I can choose to show only tasks assigned to the red team. I can also sort. And I can also customize my widget color. So here you see the orange, the black, and the green, all the different color headers. And this is where you would choose that color from this dropdown. So by clicking save, you'll see that these are assigned to a certain team, and we also have our color associated. Within each section of the custom dashboard, there are separate functions. So accounts, you can actually map where this account is located, and it'll find it on Google Maps. And with certain things like tasks, opportunities, orders, and projects, you can add a message. So if I click this, a message will pop up, and I can choose my recipient. And I can type a message. By clicking send message, that message will be sent to that particular recipient. Within open orders and open opportunities, you can add a new task by clicking this chart icon, and that'll populate the task screen in which you can quickly create a new task. Whoops. There's also a neat little sliding bar for certain task types. So if you want to slide the bar over, you can dictate what percentage is complete on the dashboard. So that's another cool feature of the custom dashboard. There's also target dates and follow-up dates. Anything that is past due, you'll note that it is highlighted in a certain color. Now, apart from the recents and the custom dashboard, another neat feature that I did want to talk about today is the navigator. This is the search bar up here with the little compass icon. Now I can search anything within business to find whatever I'm looking for. So for instance, if I choose order 2, I can search business to find that. Now you'll notice that there's a drop-down with 2 options here. I'd like to talk about these 2 options as they are different. So the first option is an unfiltered search. So if I click this, this will find anything within business with the name, order, and the number 2. So you'll see my search results have anything with the name order. So I have purchase order, employee order, sales order, and also anything with number 2. So I have order number 2, invoice number 2, and so forth. Now I can also choose that other option. So if I choose other 2 and do search within order, this is what we call a filtered search. So this will actually take the word order and search for the number 2 to find a particular order. So if I choose that, you'll notice that the order is highlighted in green, and this has found anything with the number 2 or anything related to the number 2 within orders. So for instance here, this might be the total, or it might be a date that has found the number 2 within orders. And this works with a lot of different things within business, such as tasks, invoices, customers. So you have the unfiltered search and filtered search. So that's something to keep in mind. If you want to find something particular, you can use that second option and search only within a particular entity. So that's very helpful when searching through business as well. Now up here we have some options as well. We have our info. So if I click on my name, we'll be able to see a drop down and I can view my calendar, any expenses I've issued, I can view my reports, any reserved assets, I can view subscriptions or time off, I can view my timesheets, my work calendar, my dashboard, which is what we viewed before with the recents and custom. I can view my search history, as well as I can open another company or log out. Now, if I click my name, I can actually populate my info. So it's just show my info and my information for employment over here. Now, another thing I did want to talk about while we're on this screen is the calendar. So if I click the calendar from the drop-down, I can view my personal calendar. By default, this shows the day. So you'll see we have hours laid out on the column over here. We can switch days by clicking the arrows. And now you'll see I'm on Saturday, and you can keep doing that. Or you can choose this option here to click from a calendar view. We do have 3 separate views of the calendar. So if you wanted to show weeks, you can click week on the right. And this switches it to a week view. You can also show Saturday and Sunday by clicking this little box here, and you'll note that Saturday and Sunday appear on the right. By clicking off the arrow, those days will be hidden. We also have a month, which is a traditional calendar view. So this will show any open appointments on your calendar within that traditional calendar. And just like the days, you can switch by choosing this arrow. And now I'm in July, August. And there's also the drop-down feature where you can switch months and choose your days. And again, just like the other weekly view, we can show Saturday and Sunday by clicking this arrow, this box as well.
Tomatoes, they are strong.
We can also search for appointments. So if I wanted to search for a particular appointment to find on my calendar, I can click the search button and we'll actually be able to find any appointments with that criteria. We also have search options up here. So if you wanted to locate somebody else's calendar, for instance, you can choose from the drop down here. And you can even search for a location. If I choose search, you'll be able to view the other person's calendar. Now, apart from the calendar we have here, which is my personal calendar, and every business user has their own calendar. There's also what we call the work calendar, which is a little different. So I'd like to demonstrate that now by clicking my name and work calendar from the dropdown. So I have a work calendar here, and I have 4 people on my work calendar, and I've chosen show weeks. Now, I'd like to show you how to manage these work calendars. So to do that, I'll click Manage Work Calendars. And I have one here, and this is a resource view. But if I wanted to add a new work calendar, I'll just name this. And I'll choose that red team. And our view type. Now the view types are just like the calendar view. We have the day view. The resource view is essentially a weekly view, but it demonstrates resources on the top and days on the side, just like we had on the first work calendar view I showed. That was a resource view. And the monthly view acts much like a traditional work calendar. So since I did show the resource view before, I'll choose a day view. And you'll see as I change view types, I have different work types to choose to show on my work calendar. So day view, I can show holidays, time off. I can choose my status of time off, whether it's been pending approved, denied, or canceled. I can choose my appointments. I can choose my status. I can also choose my tasks. And here I can filter by task types. Can filter by task status, whether they're open, on hold, done, or canceled. And I can also filter by priority. And here is where I'm going to add my resources. So since this is the red team work calendar, I'll search for team, and I'll choose my red team. So within the resources, you can actually add employees. You can add teams as of the red team, and you can also add divisions. So these are different resources that you'll choose to track within your work calendar. So here you'll see I have 1 employee, 1 division, and 1 team, all on the same work calendar. I can also share my work calendar by clicking an employee down from the drop-down, and I can share that with the employee. If I choose Save and Run, we'll be able to view this work calendar. So you'll note that now we have hours on the column, and we have our resources up top. If I switch the work calendar to my team, we'll be able to see the resource view. So this is a different view, and you can see that there are separate days since this is a weekly view. Now with the resource calendar, you have the ability to show multiple weeks. So if you click the drop down here, you can choose to show 2 weeks in advance. You can choose up to 4 weeks. Or you can choose a custom date range. And here you'll click the from date and the to date, and you can go in as advanced as you'd like. And by clicking refresh, you'll be able to run these criteria to find the correct work calendar. So here as I'll scroll down, you'll notice that it goes all the way to our final date range, which is 11:30. Now if I click Manage Work Calendars, we also have some options here. So we can run. This little icon is the share icon. So I can choose my employee again. I can also copy the work calendar by clicking the double pages. And then you'll see this dictates that it's a copy. All my filters are pre-selected. And then you can adjust your resources and your work types as well. And there's also the delete function. So if you want to deactivate a work calendar, you can click the deactivate button to remove it from your list. Now it's important to note that if you do choose to deactivate, you'll be asked if you want to do this. By clicking OK, This work calendar does not disappear from your view. If you want to see it again, you can click inactive and click search, and you'll be able to find that again. And by clicking the green arrow, you can reactivate the work calendar. So now if I choose active and search, that work calendar is back on my view. We can also search for work calendars, so you can search by view types. You can choose for the owner of the work calendar and status. Now, since we're on the screen, I would like to show a really cool function that is available throughout business. This feature is included in the customer list, opportunity list, vendors list, transactions list, projects list, really anywhere within the system, and that is a saved search. So if I click this little gray icon here, I can choose to save this search. I can name my search. Now we have two options here. One is default. Now if you choose default, the save search will load when you click on the page. So every time I view my work calendar, it'll load these search filters. I can also choose to auto-load search results, which means they'll auto-load that search. As soon as I click on that page, it'll show me the search results. If I don't have this on, I'll have to click search on the right to load the results. By clicking save, you'll be able to save that save search, and you can easily run it by clicking it from the drop-down. If you have multiple save searches, you can also manage your save searches by clicking Manage Save Searches, and you can either edit or deactivate. So again, if I go into the customer list, you'll see that if I click the arrow, we have Save Search again. Same is available for vendors. Transactions. Projects. Employees. So this functionality is found throughout the system, and it's a really cool way to save anything that you want to view regularly. So if I always want to show red team and all divisions, I can actually run the search. And then by clicking Save Search, I can save that save search. So that's a neat feature to keep in mind. Now another feature I'd like to show are the top features to the right of your name, which are the dashboard. So those are the two views that I showed at the start. These are the recents and custom. There's also the quick add. This will allow you to create anything that you see in this drop-down. So if I quickly want to create an employee or a customer or a check or a vendor, I can do so by using this quick add and drop-down. So if I choose sales order, for instance, you'll note that the sales order screen populates, and then I can choose my customer and create my sales order. And that works with anything within this drop-down. So if I want to create a PO, I can do so, choose my vendor, and start creating my PO. So that's also a neat feature to keep in mind. If you quickly want to create things, you can use this little quick add and choose from this drop-down. Now you'll notice that there's a bell with a number 1 next to it. These are system notifications. So if I click on that, this will display any new messages, buzz posts, or system notifications. So you'll see I have one new buzz post. If I click on that buzz post, we'll be able to view this. We can also view any messages that we've sent recently. So here's that message that I sent from the dashboard earlier. And this is where any messages sent within business will be tracked. If they're entered in entities like orders, tasks, opportunities, projects, they'll be captured within those entities as well. But this is really your system messages. So it'll be tracked in multiple places, but you can always find them underneath your messages. If you archive a message, you can choose to include archive messages in your search, and you'll be able to find them here. You can also unarchive by clicking the box again to unarchive that message. And the system notifications tell you anything that's recently happened within business. So here, for instance, if you want to view the release notes, I can choose Read More. I can read what came out in our latest release. And the last feature that's over here is the favorites. Now you might notice that any page that I view will have this little star icon. This is a favorites. So if I want to add a page to my favorites, I can click the little star, and you'll note that now the star is gold as it's in my favorites. This is available for any page, and you'll see the star. Now I switched to a different page because I did want to show these three functions as well. So we do have the star, which is the favorites. We also have the question mark. So if you're wondering what any page has in terms of functionality or how to use a particular page, you can click the question mark and it'll populate a help page. Most have videos, which will show you a little bit more detail visually with one of our business software advisors, Daniela, talking through the functionality for a certain page. And there's also content here written with hyperlinks to additional sources. And hyperlinks are available here. So if you want to go to Manage Account Settings, that'll populate the particular page. So that is also something to keep in mind, is that if you're ever wondering what a page is used for or how to configure something, you can use the little help icon up here, which is the question mark. Speaking of help, we also have the Need Help button. You might see this in the bottom right-hand screen of your business system whenever you're logged in. And by clicking this, you can actually converse with one of our business software advisors who will help you answer any of your business needs. So you'll note that this conversation has started and business support has joined the task. So they'll be able to help you answer any questions that you have in real time. Now, the last feature within these top functions here is the settings. So if we want to view the settings, I can click the settings from that dropdown. And here you'll notice we have different settings. These make up the settings for the particular page that you were previously viewing. So these are permissions for particular user roles. And if you don't have access, there will be a request access button here, which you can request access to view that particular page. Since I have access, it tells me I have access to all these functions. You can also view the manage access to see what user roles are affected by this. Since I have full access, my permissions don't appear here since I can see everything within the system. Now, since we did speak about favorites previously, I did want to show you the favorites bar, which you might notice has popped up since I added that favorite. So this is the favorites bar. And anything you want to favorite, you can quickly add here. So let's say I wanted to add a project to my favorites bar. I can go into a project and click the little star. And now if I go into the star, you'll see system notifications be here, but I can also manage favorites. So by managing favorites, you can actually drag and drop to rearrange these favorites. And by clicking on the name of the particular favorite, you have a few more options. So you can choose to show in the icon bar, which is the top bar up here. You can also show in the favorites menu, which is the drop down from the star. And you can also customize the icon color, which appears here. The system notification is yellow. And if I choose red here, on the favorites bar, this will come up with a red square next to system notifications. And if I want to change the color of the yellow, I can choose system notifications, and I can choose a different color as well. Now you'll know I have support and system notifications as my favorites bar. And this works again with anything that has the favorites bar within business. You can add to this bar up here, and just by clicking, you can quickly view those pages. And if you add them to the drop-down, you'll note that they appear in the drop-down, so you won't have to click Manage Favorites. This is especially important if you're working remotely. You can actually use this drop-down on your phone, and it quickly brings you to the favorites, as sometimes, depending on what you're using, maybe the favorites bar isn't available to see. If you have them in your drop-down menu, it's really easy to click onto on your mobile phone. Now, another option is to make something your landing page. So landing page is whenever you log into business, or if you click this little logo up here, so this will be your company logo up here. If you click that, it'll take you to your landing page. So I've made mine my dashboard, but if I wanted to make mine this project, for instance, to mark this your landing page, you can click the gear icon and click Make Landing Page, and you'll be greeted with a notification saying your landing page has been updated. And now if I click this logo, it'll take me right to the support. Now if I want to change that again to my dashboard, I can go back to dashboard, and I can make this my landing page again. And you'll note that when I click on the logo, it'll bring me back to the dashboard. So if you want to log into a particular page, you can choose this little gear icon and Make Landing Page. And every time you log into the system or click your logo up on the top left, it'll bring you to that landing page. Now, another thing I did want to talk about is the report builder. So underneath reports, we have a lot of base reports that come within business. And if I choose a report builder, I can actually choose to build a custom report. And actually, while I'm on the subject, I would like to talk about these pop-ups as well. So this pops up telling you anything that's recently been added into business for a particular page. So you may have seen this when signing up for a webinar. Maybe a pop-up came up to notify you that webinars exist and that you can sign up for those. And this also exists for business updates and any updates for particular pages. So this one, for instance, tells me that we've added a purchase order and purchase order details data sets. So I can choose Don't Show Again, which will hide this every time I choose to go to the report builder page. And I can also share this. So if I want to notify somebody of this, I can choose Share Link, and then I can share that notification with somebody. And this hyperlink will populate that message. So to add a custom report, we're going to choose the Add button, and we'll be able to name our report, but we'll also be able to choose from our data sets. Now, our data sets are anything that we choose to run reports on. So we have added the purchase orders and purchase order details data sets, so I'll choose those. So now I can name my report. And if I add to menu, I can choose to add this report to a particular menu within Business. Now it's important to note that each particular option here are the top tabs. So if you choose accounting, it'll appear in the accounting tab right here. And if you choose banking, inventory queues, or sales tax, it'll actually nestle it underneath one of these top bolded functions. If you want to nestle it into the report tab, just scroll down to the reporting, which is located here, and then you can choose to add it to the report dropdown. So if I want to add this to the purchasing section of the report dropdown, which is located here, I can choose reports and purchasing. By clicking next, we'll be able to start building our custom report. So on the left, we have available columns. This is data within the data set that you're choosing to report on. So I can choose the PO title, the PO type, the PO number, choose the PO date, the total, vendor name, and really anything that's located on the available columns I can add to this report. So you can get as broad or as detailed depending on what you want to report on and your particular needs in terms of reporting. There's also filters available. So if you only want to find particular data within data sets, you can choose add filters. And then we have search filters available here. So if I want to choose to only show approved or in progress purchase orders, I can choose the filters here. Now it's important to note that there is a search filter option to choose from the dropdown, and there are lots of options to filter through your data sets. And there's also an equal to and not equal to. So if you choose equal to, it'll only show things related to this dropdown here. If you choose not equal to, it'll show things outside of these parameters. So I'm going to choose equal to show only purchase orders that are approved and in progress. You can also add another filter by clicking the blue button. So if I wanted to show only purchase orders for a certain vendor, I can choose equal to, and I can choose my vendor. Now if you want to remove a filter, you can click the X. It'll remove that filter from your search. So this is an AND filter. So if I wanted to make it an AND, I can choose add, and this will search for anything that's approved and in progress, and I can also add that vendor for Apple. So this will show me any purchase order that is approved and in progress for Apple Cherry Hill as the vendor. I can also choose OR, and by choosing an OR filter, if I choose those same parameters, this will show me any purchase orders that are either approved and in progress, or they're assigned to the vendor Apple Cherry Hill. So you can get very customized in terms of filtering by choosing the AND and OR to add certain filters. By clicking Submit, those filters will be configured, and you'll note that you'll be able to configure them here. There's also sorting available, so you can sort by any available columns that you've added to your report. So if I want to sort by number, I can choose to do so, and I can also choose my sort direction. So if I want to sort from A to Z instead of Z to A, I can click that box, and now it's A to Z. There's also grouping available, so if I want to group by the vendor name, I can choose to do so. I can also choose to show the record account, and I can also aggregate. So if I want to sum up the total of purchase order dollars associated with each vendor, I can do that by adding an aggregate column. By choosing Run Report, we'll be able to view this custom report. And you'll see here, I have one for Apple Cherry Hill. And since we did OR This also shows anything with that particular search filter. We can also view the particular purchase order by clicking the hyperlink here, and it'll take me to the purchase order. We can also do the same for the vendor. So if I click Apple Cherry Hill on that custom report, it'll actually take me to the vendor's dashboard. If you want to configure those search filters again, you can click this little funnel and gear icon to configure those filters. You can also configure the report by clicking the page and gear icon. So you can quickly go back to the screen and add another column if you so choose. And it's important to know also that you can rearrange these columns by dragging and dropping. You can also remove them by clicking the X icon. By clicking Run Report, those columns will be added or removed to your report. There's also the refresh button to refresh the report. And there's also the CSV icon to export the report into an Excel document. And the export feature is available for any report that we have here, as well as any report that you build in the report builder. Now, although I chose purchase order dataset, the basic functionality of the report builder is available for any dataset in terms of adding columns, adding your search filters, grouping, sorting, aggregating, and all the functions you see on the top bar here. So those were some helpful tips in improving your experience and efficiency while working within business. And again, those will help you navigate, organize, and increase production within business. I'd like to open this time for questions, so please feel free to ask any questions you may have.